Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, into Eric Hoy Arena here in Charleswood in Winnipeg, Manitoba, as the home side, the Charleswood Hawks, are set to get underway here shortly against the visiting side in the Transcona Railer Express. I'm your play-by-play commentator for tonight's matchup on your home for Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League coverage here on the network on G-Show Productions. This game heading into tonight, we'll get to the keys to the game here quickly. As for the Railer Express, a 10-game winning streak coming in. Do you change much? I wouldn't say so. Been a model of success here in this league so far this year, and protect the house going to be vital for them today against the Charleswood Hawks. For the Hawks, winners of 3 straight, users speed and attack the net tonight will be the keys to the game for them, as our pregame show ends here. Puck drop next after national anthems. Well, the only time these two teams have faced off so far has been a bit earlier on in the year, where in the most recent matchup, it was the Transcona Railer Express defeating the Charleswood Hawks 4-3 on a game I believe we broadcasted on the network, either that one or, yeah, it was the second one of the year, since that was at East End. This one here tonight at Eric Hoy, it's number 1 in the league in the Transcona Railer Express, 18-1-3, taking on the Charleswood Hawks here in their home at Eric Hoy Arena, as they're looking to improve to 17-5-1 on the season, 16-5-1 heading into tonight. Early on, Vandenbush, captain for the Railer Express, trying to take this puck away from Matt Carlson, but couldn't. Carlson will win that battle with the puck, but ends up turning it over as quickly work towards the Charleswood bench. face-off draw, won by Shadanoff. Back to a teammate who plays that across to Roan Ko, as that is, for this Railer Express squad. Backhanded along the boards there to number 18, Michael Todoric, who battles along the boards. This gets loose up to Ko, who Roan Ko sends that past the stick of one of his teammates as that hopped over. Now trying to chip it out are the Hawks, but can't quite. Shadanoff sends that towards the net where Keaton Johnson was there. As Johnson gets pinned up along the boards, now turned over by this Railer Express squad. Or they forced the turnover. Turnover was made by the Hawks as they control possession right now. Looking to go cross ice, but that one through the skates of all his teammates off that pass from number 23 in Van Elstein. As with that, we got a stoppage in play here with 18:15 left on the first period clock. And this one brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Be sure to check out their website at cancentralsportscards.com, as well as checking out their website at Can Central Sports Cards. Or checking out their store location in person at 995 Miltz Drive, as I should say, here located in Winnipeg. Once again, Winnipeg's premier sports memorabilia store, as well as sports card store here in Winnipeg, as the Railer Express look to work this up and out, but can't quite get it out, as Waddell able to hold the line as the Charleswood Hawks keep this in deep. Dudich plays that in the direction of Morrison, but was way past number 13. As the Hawks look to get possession of this down low along the boards. Up to the point now, this gets to Glavina. His shot! Oh, able to squeeze it into his body there. Maroney lost sight of it. And with that, able to survive for the meantime. 17:28 left on the clock. We're just getting started here from Eric Hoy Arena. And as for the Charleswood Hawks, they've been down in both games that they've played early on against this Transcone Railer Express team. So getting off to a quick start, I think, could fare well for this team here, who comes in 6 points separated from the Transcone Railer Express from first to second place, as Maroney covers that up again. Got another face-off, and both teams will end up getting changes onto the ice as well. Top line from the Railer Express makes it onto the ice, and Vandenbush, McClure, and Chudley, and one of the Hawks depth lines makes its way onto the ice. As that draw one, but not held in there by number 5 in the captain, Van Norman. This gets backhanded up onto the stick of Traverse, but was unable to cradle it, so turned over into the Railers' possession. That into a Railers skate, though, off of a Railers pass, so it's a turnover, and this puck gets sent to the net, as Maroney ends up covering things up once again to get another stoppage in the play. So we're in the booth again here tonight from Eric Coy, as this team won by the home side. That shot turned aside by number 1 in Maroney, again off the glove. And just got some word before this game started, actually, that there's a newcomer to the Charleswood Hawks defense. So we try to pick up the statistics, bring them up here on our second screen. For the time being, we're going to get back to calling the play, as this draw won by the Railer Express in control. The reverse to Austin Campbell, as Campbell plays it up the wall to an outlet man, but this still held in by the Charleswood Hawks. As for the time being, the puck gets out but sent in right again. There's this puck all the way down for an icing. And with that, actually an offside on the play. Apologies. It's number 5, some newcomers into the lineup tonight. Jace Larkins for the Transcone Railer Express. Number 4, Eric Krekowitz, getting traded from the Raiders Junior Hockey Club over to this Charleswood Hawks team, bolstering their decor. Krekowitz has been a standout every time we've seen him play on the Raiders here on the network. So Charleswood's quest, of course, getting back to that final two into the final series. Moves like this down the line could pay dividends for this squad as they control this puck into the skates across to Carlson. Ends up getting this to Sperber, who's back in the lineup after a few weeks of absences due to, I believe, some injury, as this played up to the point. That shot just wide of the net ends up into the skates of Sperber. Tries getting it into the slot, but can't there. Now Maroney sticking out that glove. Try to take away that pass, but couldn't for now. Van Alstyne looking to hold the line. Oh, gets blown up there as the linesman has his arm up, but that's not indicating any penalty coming. Of course, all they can do really call off sides and actually forget all the responsibilities overall of a linesman, but you cannot call penalties like that. It has to come from the head referee, and the referee's just letting them play here on. But here's Penner coming in, takes a short pass. Oh, what a rip from Penner, opens the scoring here on this Friday night at Iroquois for the Charleswood Hawks. That's the quick start that this team was hoping for. They find it. It's number 6 on the board for the first time here tonight. And a goal brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Penner takes that quick pass from a teammate and has an open lane to skate to the net, some open space in front of him, takes advantage of every inch of that, and just a picture-perfect shot. We say this many times when covering the Hawks. This time over the top of the shoulder of Maroney, Logan Maroney that is, rookie goaltender for Transcona. And with that, 14:54 remaining. It's the Hawks with a 1-0 lead, courtesy of Cole Penner, number 6. As the Railer Express look for a response here early on, a team that has been used to playing in front. Tyson Pruden with the assist, number 17, or no, sorry. Number 17 in Traverse with the assist for this Charleswood Hawks team. Pruden playing for the Transcon Railer Express. This played up to Morrison, chips it past Howell, as this picked up by the Railers in their own zone. Attempting to go cross ice with that pass, but a good stick by Morrison forces a turnover. Dudic tries getting it back over there to number 14 in the slot as Vig Fussin plays it off of the net and to number 13 in Morrison, but ending up not able to cradle it as Morrison, as Transcona turns it up the other way. Transcona now established in the zone. There's Larkins. His shot turned aside by Keegan Gordon and covered up for a whistle here. So we'll get another face-off draw coming up inside of the Charleswood zone. They lead this one, though, 1-0, courtesy of Cole Penner, number 6 of this Charleswood Hawks squad. So we try to get a little zoom-in action there on this face-off draw. Trey Sun takes a bump along the boards, loses his puck. Van Alstyne tried to hit Monin up the middle there, but Monin didn't look like he was anticipating that pass to come so quickly. Goes down for an icing. With that, we got yet another draw coming to the blocker hand side of Gordon this time around, as this will be won by Nathan Turner up to Larkins at the point. Trying to get that through a screen, but unable to as it's blocked. It's Jackson Sorrell giving chase on the forecheck for this Railer Express team. Now another Railer comes in to help, almost forces a turnover, but it's the Hawks who are able to get it out. Now back on the stick of Larkins, who spins around and fires this off the boards all the way down into the Hawk zone. Couldn't find Sorrell with that intended pass. But the Hawks with a bit of trouble moving it in the neutral zone. They have it back in their own end for the time being. Cross-ice pass up off of the boards back into the Transcona Railer Express end, as it's Eros Bazin trying to get this puck off of a forecheck. Strong along the wall, but Transcona able to work this to the opposite side. Now flipped into the neutral ice. That's batted down by Sorrell, almost batted down in the Hawk zone by Turner. This one goes all the way down for an icing. And with that, we'll get yet another face-off coming inside of the Hawk zone. So it'll be Tyson Sperber's line out there along with Eros Bazin. Traverse as well. As this sent all the way out, back down to the Railer Express zone. No icing on the play this time as Roan Coe will be first one on it. Plays this across to Keaton Johnson as Johnson reverses his back to Roan Coe, but off the boards, Coe can handle it. Turned over, down low now to Lewis. Lewis plays this up towards Carlson, but he'll be pinned up along the boards by Chudley, as Chudley is able to get that to a teammate. So the Railers regrouping their own end shortly here for the time being, passing this puck up now, working it to Chudley. Chudley able to get to this puck first, trying to shield this away from number 4 in Krekowitz. A few bumps of the bodies there, just inside of the Charleswood zone, and it's taken the other way by Charleswood. Oh, a big bump there in the corner as Carlson now continues to push alongside with Coe. This, one-timer chance. How's his stick exploded there? Number 19 and Elliot Lewis, who goes off for a change. Doesn't stay on and grab it. A new stick, though, as some players would. Huge hit along the boards now inside of the Hog zone as this ends up on net to Keegan Gordon. Plays this to a teammate in Van Norman as Van Norman surveys his options. That pass misses everybody. Long shot turned aside by Gordon now, as it's the Railer Express controlling behind the Charleswood goal line. As this puck now along the boards, picked loose by this Railer Express team, but a turnover right away. This ends up towards the close boards to us, towards the Charleswood bench to Penner. Is Penner having some trouble getting it out? Ends up on to Krekowitz stick, who gets that up to McPherson. Draw pass misses from McPherson to Stevenson. Braden Stevenson gets it back and sends this towards the blue line, but misses his teammates with that pass. As this now sent into the middle for the Railer Express, but finding nobody as this picked up by this Hawks team and controlled behind their own goal. Stevenson goes off of the glass, tries finding Dudich with that high bank, but could not. McPherson tried to hold the line there for the Hawks, but couldn't. Turned it over to Howell, who plays it up to a teammate, and now sent to Keaton Johnson, who, stone cold there by number 1 and Keegan Gordon. Getting the stop in play now with 10:02 remaining in the first period of action. As Gordon didn't really have to move much there, good positioning, was ready for that Johnson shot. And for number 26, on his best chance of the game, unable to beat number 1 in Keegan Gordon, who of course leads the league in wins by a single goaltender with a 14-5 record heading into tonight. His Charleswood Hawks lead this one 1-0 as well here on your home for mmjhl Hockey G Show Productions. This played to Larkins. Larkins, his shot turned aside by the glove there. Routine save made by Gordon to get another stoppage in play. Just under 10 minutes left here in this first. This period brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, as well as a thank you to our other sponsors in Mid-Canton Fasteners and Tools, Terrico, and Goaltenders. You'll be seeing more from them as this broadcast goes along. Puck picked up by the Railer Express in the neutral zone, sending it back into the Hawk zone, but the Hawks able to get it out quickly. Bazin able to touch that into the corner, into the direction of Monin, but Railer Express there and Larkins cuts him off. Tried to rim it out of the zone, though couldn't, as the Hawks play that towards the net, but have it intercepted. Austin Campbell now skating the other way, able to squeeze through Traverse. Somehow Campbell still maintaining this puck into the slot, but what a save by Gordon to rob Sorrell on a grade A chance on what looked to be a sure one-timer goal. After Austin Campbell did all the work to get into the zone, squeezing by Hawks defenders, threading that pass into a wide open slot area where Sorrell got to. But Gordon, the Winds leader, says, not right now, not tonight so far. As with 8:52 remaining, after one of the nicest saves we've seen this season, we got a Hawk that's slow to get up, still down on the ice. Is that, I believe, an assistant captain in Carlson? This not looking good right now for this Hawks team. If he were to be out, we'll see what they can do in on the rush. Lewis tries dragging past a Railer Express defenseman, but couldn't. Almost in front, getting that into the net, tapping it in. But the Railers could not. That fanned on from high up in the slot by Lewis. Backdoor attempt tap in there. But the Hawks couldn't connect on that pass. As this gets sent hard to the point, Lewis could not hold it in. No icing on the play, as that was a pass by the Hawks to themselves. Just a bit too strong, as we saw there. Nolan Vandenbush along the wall. Nice job to take that puck away. Almost working it in, but the Hawks able to get a good stick on it. As Van Norman now, with some patience in his own end, goes up the boards to Penrue. Nice touch pass into the middle to McPherson, trying to dangle past number 6 there, and Kyle Todoruk, but couldn't. Play shut down as this puck sent out into the neutral zone. Tipped in again by Penner off that pass from Waddell. Turned over, though, by the Hawks, and now turned up into the neutral zone by this Railer Express team. Nice stick by Waddell just beyond the blue line to knock that pass away. Puck ends up going out of the Hawk zone now, but right back in as they go D to D. Glavina goes right back to number 28 there, and Stevenson, who hits a man in the middle, and McPherson just near the Railer Express blue line. But the Hawks can get possession of that off of the forecheck. They're back in their own end, looking to work this up. As this stretch pass all the way down, no icing called on the play. Maroney able to get that puck just past Penner as he was coming in with speed, number 6. Oh, this bounces past Whitestick. Now to Vandenbush, turned aside by Gordon as Vandenbush almost taking advantage of what looked like some unfortunate puck luck there for this Hawks team. Van Alstyne in the corner spins away from the pressure of Vandenbush. This drop back now to Van Alstyne as him and Stevenson work away to try to create some space here coming out of the zone. This played to an outlet man. Now backed up to Van Alstyne, but puck went off of his stick. He couldn't cradle it cleanly. Allows for the Railer Express to get possession of it, but still held in by the Hawks, and a dangerous shot there from the point by Van Alstyne was blocked. As it's St. Laurent coming in, takes some physical play into the boards as he gets rubbed out there. But picked up by Austin Campbell as he sends this in deep. Going to chase after it. Also has St. Laurent with them there, but the Hawks able to knock this puck away out of danger and get this into the neutral zone. As Van Norman able to send it in just past the red line, negating any icing that it could have been. As this somehow getting past the Hawks is a bit sloppy along the boards. It's St. Laurent. Oh, able to just get by that hit where it wasn't making full contact from Van Norman. Still took a blow there, though, St. Laurent, as he heads to the bench. Lost his balance at that. Shadanoff takes a bump after stripping the puck away from Krekowitz. It's played into the middle, onto the stick of Monin. Now has Eros Bazin heading towards the net. Tried dangling in on Rowan Coe, but Coe shuts him down with a good stick. This a bit too hard off the boards, all the way down for an icing here. With 4:49 remaining in this first period of action. It's the Charleswood Hawks up early here. Thank you for choosing G-Show Productions, for tuning into this one, folks. We are your home for mmjhl hockey here in the province of Manitoba. We released episode 12 of season 2 of our podcast earlier today as well. That is available now on our YouTube channel under the live section, as is almost every single piece of our content that we produce here. Had a great chat with Riel's head coach and Paul Castas, as well as previewed this game. One of our keys to the game, which we'll talk more about during the first intermission, was a quick start from this Hawks team, and boy, are they off to a quick start. Indeed, up 1-0 over the Railer Express. First time leading them to open up a game this season in the season series, as this is the third out of fifth matchup between these two teams this year. Puck now trying to dangle past a Hawks player, but couldn't, was Keaton Johnson. Is this back into the Railer Express zone again? This Railer Express team looking to work things up now. Trying to stretch that, but a nice interception by Penner, who's been all over it so far tonight. Passes to Stevenson. Stevenson tries going back to Penner, but a nice layout to block there from a Railer Express player. They cleared from the house, but not the zone quite yet. Held in at the point. Now plate to Penner. His shot squares off of a Railer Express player and wide of the net. Penner gets it back, plays it across to Van Alstyne. Van Alstyne's shot can't go through. Nice block by Keaton Johnson, who able to get this out once again. The Hawks send it right back in, looking to get in on the puck again. This ends up to Penner. Backhand quickly to the net, but covered up, smothered up by Maroney. In the final 4 minutes of play here, has Penner been really impressive to watch here so far tonight. He's off to a strong start. He's one of those players who, I mean, skill is the prominent part of his game, but what stands out to me so far is his ability to, you know, redirect the passes he's redirected to teammates. He's been getting to the areas and getting open to receive passes and getting good shots on net. And the prime example of all of that coming on that first goal of the game and only goal of the game that was scored by number 6. He's been dynamite ever since that trade has happened, where he was involved going the other way as Huging was sent to the Fort Garry Twins. And with Penner, said it before, he's an 06 player. He's going to have even more years to develop here in this league for the next 3 to come if he chooses to stay here with Charleswood. And going to be very interested to see what his skill set is like in a few years at that. But it's a Friday night filled with a bunch of action here in the league as we show you all the rest of the action on this Thursday. Twins at home to face off against the Raiders. Canucks at home to face off against the Royal Knights. And Pembina Valley taking on the Stonewall Jets at home in Morris, Manitoba, as that puck gets into the slot, but no one there for the Railer Express to do anything with it. So it was turned over. As this played off the boards, Vic Fusson now a shifty move to the middle before flipping a puck off the backhand to Morris, who drives to the net wide, tried playing it off the side of the net, off that pad of Maroney, but couldn't. This now picked up by Big Fuss and ends up into the slot where it's one-timed by Dudich, who's turned aside there by Maroney. Puck gets sent all the way back into the Hawk zone as Van Norman, nice job to drop that back to Krekowitz, who got it up to Lewis. Nice toe drag through the neutral zone by Lewis, whose shot turned aside by Maroney upon entry. Sperber able to get that back to Lewis. Gets us into the slot for Krekowitz, who is creeping up, but wide of the net that goes. Now into the slot for Lewis. Another huge save by Maroney here. Or on that chance that time around, as he actually caught a piece of that one compared to the last shot. As this all the way down for an icing. It's that top line for this Charleswood Hawks team has Carlson on it, who, by the way, glad to see him back out as he went to the bench in a heap earlier. But now you add Sperber back onto a line with Lewis, and this just upgrades your offense even more so on that top 3. So with a minute 45 remaining, this top line remains out. Van Alstyne will hold the line and rim this all the way to the opposite point for this Hawks team. Their forwards able to get possession for the time being down low, but it'll be the Railer Express who pick this up and skate it out. Short pass through, connected with McClure, but McClure afterwards didn't have much room to do anything as he was closed off Vandenbush sends this in deep as we're approaching the final minute of play here in period number 1. The Hawks up 1-0, looking to take this lead into the intermission. McClure might have something to say about it, but stopped up by that pad of Keegan Gordon as we're under 60 seconds to play now officially. Puck back into the Railer Express zone. They play it up the boards to Chudley. Hits his middleman there in Vandenbush. He's trying to dangle through. Vandenbush somehow gets to that loose puck, fighting through the body there of a Hawks player to get to that loose puck. Deke forced Gordon to make a save as Vandenbush still remains out there. Hawks, though, able to turn this up and turn a turnover into a giveaway for them as that back door unable to capitalize was Eros Bazin as this played the other way now cross ice to Evan Chudley going one-on-one on Waddell. Nice stick there from number 8. This ends up into the slot, but the Hawks able to scrap away at that one to take it away. As with 10 seconds remaining, this period almost into the books. St. Laurent in on the forecheck though on Waddell. Seems like this puck is going to stay there unless the Railers able to dig it out. They couldn't. As with that, this first period comes to an end with the Charleswood Hawks up by a score of 1-0. We'll get the shots for you. The full stats from the goal that was scored by Cole Penner earlier on in that frame. Both top two in the standings heading into this matchup, and that first period didn't disappoint, especially near the end of it. A lot of back and forth chances from both of these teams. The Railer Express, they started to play more in their own end as the period went along. But early on, they had some really quality chances. The one that comes to mind is the Jackson Sorrell one-timer chance there that he was robbed on in the slot by Keegan Gordon. As number 1 making maybe his best save of the season so far. And down the other way, as the period went along, Maroney started to get busy. Pucks ended up getting into the slot with success off passes from this Hawks team. So yeah, we'll look to continue to see how these teams look to attack the house area, also known as the slot of their opponent's defensive zone as this one goes along. As the way to beat one of these teams, the way to do it is get an aggressive crash in the net and making them as uncomfortable as possible around their own net when it comes to their goaltenders, allowing rebounds and how the opposition is able to box out. We'll see if the offensive teams can force their will into those areas as this game goes along. But Cole Penner, off of a nice pass that he received in motion, fired home a beauty of a shot up over the shoulder of Maroney to make this a 1-0 game. Charleswood looks to extend that lead as Transcona looks to tie things up throughout the second period here coming up, as we'll have the next 20 here on your home for mmjhl hockey on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. And this game presented by Terrico Goaltenders, Mid-Canton Fasteners and Tools, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia.
Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, The Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store.
Back into Iroquois Arena here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, as the Charleswood Hawks facing off against the Transcona Railer Express in the battle of the top two teams currently in the Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League standings. Currently sees the Charleswood Hawks up 1-0 after the first 20 minutes of play. Cole Penner scoring his 13th of the season, assisted by Nathan Glavina 4 minutes and 45 seconds into this matchup here tonight. The shots were 10-9 in favor of the Transcona Railer Express. Some really high-quality chances from them throughout that period, but Keegan Gordon getting the best of them on those 10 shots. As Logan Maroney in net getting the start for the Railer Express tonight. The only goaltender in the league out of the top 5 right now in wins that has a perfect record. That, of course, on the line here tonight. We'll take you through the rest of the matchups once again that are happening in the mmjhl tonight. Of course, the week started last night in St. Vital as St. Boniface with a huge second period propelling them to a 6-1 victory. They scored 6 unanswered in that one as well. They'll be back in action coming up on Sunday, along with the Victorias. St. Boniface actually going to be taking on Charleswood at Southdale on this Sunday afternoon. But as for tonight, the Fork Area Twins taking on the Raiders Junior Hockey Club, St. James taking on River East, and Pembina Valley taking on Stonewall. That game has just started. We'll get to the scores of the other matchups here in the league. As currently it's Fork Area up 1-0 on the Raiders Junior Hockey Club, and for St. James up big 4-1 in the first period with 1:16 remaining over the River East Royal Knights. Stonewall and Pembina Valley just about to get set to go as per the website as well. But as for the standings heading into tonight's matchups, the Railer Express 18-1-3, 39 points. This matchup here tonight, if they end up losing it, well, they will still be in first place. For Charleswood, they'd move 4 points back of the Express if they're able to get the clean 2 points in the win, with this one ending in regulation. Huge one for Charleswood, right? Because not only are they trying to close the gap in the standings against the Railer Express, but they're also trying to maintain their slim lead for second place over the St. Boniface Riels right now, who are only a point back of them. But yeah, I mean, as for both teams, as we look at the keys to the game once again, for the Railer Express, you know, you're coming in with a 10-game win streak, so what do you change in that? You don't really change anything, given that this team is first in goals for per game, second in goals against per game, first in power play percentage, and second in PK percentage. So what would you change? Well, I'd say continue to protect the house in this one, as Charleswood, if they're looking to have their optimal success, they'll want to continue to look to crash the net. As for the Hawks, they got exactly what they were looking for tonight, as their winners of 3 straight coming in. We're looking for a fast start, and they got it with that 1-0 lead. Using their speed's going to be vital in this one, and continuing to attack the net, continuing to pressure who's been the best team in the league here for a little while now in Transcona, as best as you can. We're going to throw it to a commercial break here before we get set for the second period of play here live from Iroquois Arena on mmjhl Game Day. Hawks up 1-0, looking to build on it here in these next 20 minutes.
Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, The Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store.
we are back here in the home of the Charleswood Hawks, the most decorated team in this league's history. Of course, currently second place in the standings, looking to close the gap here tonight on the team that's in front of them by 6 points in the Transcona Railer Express on a 10-game winning streak, as mentioned, heading into tonight. They outshot Charleswood 10-9 just in that first 20 minutes of play, but they trail on the scoreboard 1-0 in this game, brought to you by Mid-Canton Fasteners and Tools, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Terrico, and Goaltenders. Thank you to them for continuing to support the coverage here of Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League hockey on the network as we're officially underway. As the Hawks with it in their zone early on, Krekowitz backhands this out off the boards, giving chase now. Matt Carlson has this puck poke past him, though. Nice quick stick by Austin Campbell, but two Railer Express players run into each other there, causing a turnover. Fanning on it, and fanning again was Carlson, but gets it through towards the front of the net. Now held in by Krekowitz and scores! It's a 2-0 lead here, and this one even earlier than the first period goal to open things up, coming from the newcomer on D. And I believe Eric Krekowitz, who it looked for a moment like Matt Carlson tipped it and redirected it, but it went cleanly through. Number 4 will be credited with the goal, and what a start there for the Charleswood Hawks. Of course, a bit of miscommunication in the defensive zone, leading to no zone exit for this Transcona team. Charleswood picks it up off of their pressure. They continue to send players to the net, right, to create that screen, and all Krekowitz does is send a shot through that's accurate, not really raised that much. I'm not even sure if it comes off the ice. It's able to get past Maroney, who couldn't see it very well, courtesy of the Carlson's screen. So they actually give it to Matt Carlson. Either way, no matter who it was, Krekowitz ends up getting his first point as a Charleswood Hawk. As the Railer Express look to respond as Gordon, his defenseman just keeping this one out in the blue paint. Stevenson got it up to McPherson, who got to Penner. Penner tries to dangle past the stick there. Maroney after getting the pass back from number 28 and Stevenson. As Trey Sellen now kicks this out. As this played up to Nolan Vandenbush. Can't quite cradle that puck upon entry into the zone, but picked up McClure into the skates of number 16 in the slot for this Railer Express squad. As this picked up by Chudley. Tries sending this down low. Gets it there. Gordon stones a man in front. Number 27 in McClure. It's number 16, Declan Whiteman, by the way, for this Railer Express team. Railer's able to pick it up. Strong forecheck right now. Good response from this team. They're getting down 2-0. Now we get to see this Railer Express team right in an uncomfortable situation. How do you respond to a Charleswood team that, of course, you've been able to get chances on so far, but overall, it's been very back and forth. As Vig Fuss and his shot turned aside by a good glove save there by Maroney. That pass unable to be cradled in there by Nolan Vandenbush. As Gordon from behind his own net able to play this up the boards. Puck gets out onto the stick of Riley Dudish now. Decides to pull up and shoot this. So he was going one-on-one with Jacob Howell. That gets a stop in play, and we also got to update our score here. Lacking on that right now. There we go, 2-0 the score. That goal courtesy of Matt Carlson, who big-time player making big-time plays here so far tonight. Krekowitz with his first point as a Hawk as well. And what a journey it's been for Krekowitz throughout these past 2 seasons. He was on St. James last year before the deadline. The Raiders make a move for him. And of course, this year with the Raiders struggling, they've already made some trades. They do another one with Krekowitz being sent over to this Charleswood team. As turnover in front of the Transcona net. Maroney able to hold this puck out as Dudic, any Railer Express player in front, went at it. That Railer Express player continued to throw some punches as well to another Hawks player. Leave number 4 in Krekowitz in that mix. No, number 14, sorry, Big Fussin'. It's Krekowitz at the blue line, or near the blue line. Just chilling there for the time being as he's just off your screen now. This sets off a face-off draw inside of the Transcone end, as this won by the Railer Express. Played up now onto the stick of Johnson. Has Michael Todoric with him, but covered. Johnson being manhandled pretty well there by Krekowitz, close to the Charleswood goal line, just past the red line. No, I guess not. An icing on the play. Surprised they ended up calling that one. I thought Charleswood had just made it over the red line to dump that in. Appears we were proven wrong here with 16:12 remaining. This period brought to you by Terrico, also in goaltenders, your goalie's personal video review service. Be sure to check out their website at GordyTumelsonGoalies.ca for more details. Puck sent all the way down again by the Hawks into the Railer zone. And with that, we'll get another face-off draw coming up right inside of the Hawk zone. Jeremy Shadenough to take the draw here coming up for Transcona against Bazin. One by Shadenough for the Railer Express. Now down below in the Hog zone. Behind the back pass. Almost connects with Bazin there off of the stick of Monin, but not quite, as this sent down right again by this Railer Express team. Now just sent up all the way high. Not into the bench or anything, so this puck stays alive by the Hawks. And they get in on the forecheck. They force a turnover here. A giveaway by the Railer Express once again, but the Railers able to get it out. An offside called there on the play as Charleswood called for it. After getting possession of the puck again, quickly after losing it against the Railers there in that sequence. Be Elliot Lewis in to take the draw. Tries to go through St. Laurent, which got the puck through, but was unable to catch up to the puck. Here's St. Laurent now down the left side. A 3-on-2 potentially developing. Tries sending that to the net, but a good stick by the Hawks to get in the lane there to make that go wide and high. Matt Carlson now, most recent goal scorer in this game. Kicked this out quickly, and now it's to Lewis. Lewis, his shot through a bit of a screen, turned aside by the pad there of Maroney. As this fed up the middle now to Carter Johansson. Johansson continuing with this puck with one hand, was trying to get a good handle on it, but could never do it within that time. So just got covered up there by Keegan Gordon. And with that, 14:53 remaining here on the clock. It's a 2-goal lead now for Charleswood as they got the face-off draw inside of their zone again. Won by them again, but Penner unable to chip this out. Sends up opposite corner, but turned over. It's up into the neutral zone. It's the Hawks who getting in, possessing this. Down low, Penner sends this to the opposite side where Parker White was there, but it wasn't quite strong enough to make it to him. Now into the feet, this pass back to Roan Coe, who plays it up into the neutral zone. Now puck sent in deep into the Hawks end as they rim this around into the direction of Penner, who almost gets some help there from a linesman, almost ends up onto the ice, but maintains his balance off of that hit. Vig Fussin, his shot from a long ways out, turned aside by that glove hand of Logan Maroney. It's number 1 flashes of the leather. As this sent back into the Hawk zone Gordon out of his own net to play it. Hits his own teammate's shin pad, though. Ends up getting back and ends up covering it up. Gordon ends up getting a stoppage in play. I'm not sure if Michael's mocking me here in the chat or was telling us we should update the score, but you know what? I respect that, to be able to, chirp that way, Michael, so thanks for keeping it light here in the chat. As this one goes along, 13:44 remaining between the Railer Express and the Hawks in the second period here on mmjhl game day. As it'll be a tie-up on the face-off draw. Oh, almost turned over in front into the Railers' favor, but unable to cradle that puck cleanly. As Vig Fussin will pick this puck up. Tries sending it to the middle to Dudich, but continues along down low, north-south. Puck ends up out in front. Vig Fussin picks up this loose puck, but a huge block there by Kyle Todoruk. Delayed penalty coming up here to the Railer Express. The Hawks look to control on a 6-on-5 for more time here. But that'll end that sequence of 6-on-5 play. As touched up by this Railer Express squad. Gets Gordon back out there, and for, I believe, the first time tonight, it will be the Railer Express taking a penalty, the first one in the game in general. It'll be Jacob Howell who goes off for the next 2 minutes, which brings on Terrico onto the screen, serving Manitoba producers for over 80 years in the agricultural industry. Check out their website at terico.ca to find out why. Carlson passing over to Lewis. So nice puck handling there from Lewis to protect it with a backhand toey along the boards now. Gets us into the feet of Parker White. His shot through, and no traffic there in front from the Hawks this time. Allows for Maroney to see that with some ease. With that face-off coming up to the glove-hand side of Maroney. Draw one by Lewis along board. Strong there. Stevenson plays it up to Parker White, who spins around towards the boards to evade the pressure. Gets this back. And now back to the point to Lewis, who plays it across to Carlson. Towards the side of the net there for Sperber, but Sperber couldn't cradle that puck off of the pass. Controlled on the outside for this Hawks team. Now down low, Sperber fires it to the opposite point to Lewis, who shot, might have went off of a post there. Not too sure. I heard a bit of a clank. So this gets rimmed across. Lewis now protecting along the wall. Saucers this down low to Carlson, who saucers this opposite point to Stevenson. His shot through low, turned aside by Maroney with 57 seconds left on the man advantage. Hawks continue to work it. As it ends up to Carlson, passes to Stevenson as he's denied by number 1 in Maroney. Able to just come across to make that save. And with that, we got a stoppage in play. The whistle goes in the neutral zone here. A great save there by Maroney. The execution, if it was a bit better on that pass from Charles, would if they were able to connect more cleanly, perhaps Stevenson would just be able to beat Maroney, but not the case there. Vig Fussin plays this back to Van Alstyne. Gets it back to number 14. Drops it down low to Morrison. Back to Vig Fussin to Van Alstyne. Back to 14. Cradles this puck and drags it to 23 at the point again. Back to 14. He goes across with that pass just off the mark to number 7 in Glavina, who gets this back up to the point. That shot turned aside off of the glove. Number 1 in Maroney. $11:23 remaining in this second period. 9 seconds left on this Hawks power play. Maybe one more chance or two if they're able to win the draw, and they do. Glavina passes quickly to Morris, and now to Glavina, who rips this shot, unable to get through. Nice job by Carter Johansson to block that with the stick. Ends up breaking it and goes off for a change instead of just looking for a new stick there along the bench. So we're back to even strength here. The Railer Express, that shot wide of the net is, a bit of trouble there almost for Gordon. That's from the closest corner of our broadcast angle. Railer Express got that on target onto the net. So offensive face-off zone set up here for this Railer Express squad. Nolan Vandenbush unable to win along the wall, but his teammates stick with it. But so do the Charleswood Hawks, as Carlson able to muscle this one out along the wall was strong. Now Sperber able to take this puck away. Carlson in for support, able to get this puck now to the point. Van Norman, his shot deflected all the way up over the glass for a field goal here. Through the uprights and good. As we'll get a face-off draw set up for the Hawks inside of the Railer Express zone here. As for Nolan Vandenbush, he'll go up against Matt Carlson. As Carlson taking the draw on that strong side compared to if Lewis would have taken it, as he's a right-handed shot compared to Carlson, who's left-handed there. But this gets passed onto the stick of Sperber, who looks to take this left side backhand pass out in front into the skates. That's in the blue paint. Now up to Van Norman, who is below the ringette line. Ends up back to the point. He couldn't unload on that shot because he couldn't cradle it well enough. So with a good stick there, Sperber creates a turnover down low still, allowing for Austin Campbell to have a heck of a time there trying to get that out. Now a delayed penalty coming up here. Coming up to the Railer Express again. This played to Lewis. His shot through a screen trickles through there to the net where Maroney would make the stop. And with that, it's going to be a Railer Express penalty kill coming up for the second time here in this period. 2-0 advantage this Hawks team would love to build on here. Going up against, of course, the second-ranked penalty kill in the league here tonight in the Railer Express. As for the Charleswood Hawks, their power play percentage heading into this one, not quite over 20%, but below it at 19.4. Fifth in the league in power play percentage, so about middle of the pack. They'll look to improve on that here tonight, though, as they skate this in. This is down low, Vig Fuss in control, and off the boards, passes up to Van Alstyne. Van Alstyne waits, passes off to Glavina, back to Van Alstyne, now to Vig Fuss, and Vig Fuss, and his shot turned aside. A nice block there by Roan Coe for the Railer Express. Vig Fussin up to the point, back to Van Alstyne, across Glavina. Has that sticked away, but good support from a teammate. Able to pick this up, get this across to Vig Fussin, whose shot goes wide of the net. Trying to hit high blocker. Was off target. Now, 3 Railers, 3 Hawks try to battle away again in this. The Railers got it and sent it out. Van Alstyne unable to hold the line there. Batted down with a glove. So that was unsuccessful. Leaves a drop for Parker White. As Van Alstyne comes off for a change, brings on Carlson. White rims this all the way around. Or to allow for his teammate and Lewis to clog up the boards to allow for this puck to stay down low. For the Hawks, the Railers were unable to get by that blockade. As now 3 Hawks in the corner trying to scoop this loose puck out, and they do. Carlson up to Parker White. Gets this to Stevenson. Back up to Carlson now, who plays this across to White. White quickly over to Lewis. Back up quickly to White. To Carlson, cross ice now. Now back to Lewis. His shot just wide of the net, but had Maroney moving. They connected. Maybe that's, and that shot through a screen now. Turned aside by the skate, I believe, of a Railer Express player. We're back to even strength now. Vandenbush, fresh onto the ice, lays a hit there on a Hawks player. As Michael Todoruk played this to Carter Johansson, he takes a bit of a whack at a Charleswood Hawk player there. That puck ends up out of play. So we got a stoppage here coming up. 7:32 remaining left on the clock. Can't see it in the frame right now, but a net guard that was picked up by the Charleswood Hawks that belongs to the Railer Express. The linesman, you just saw him appear back into the frame. He was the one who tossed it over to Derek Gagnon and that Railer Express coaching staff, who are in a bit of an unfamiliar situation right now, down 2-0. Trying to push in this one, but the Hawks been all over this Railer Express team here tonight, not giving them an inch, not much space. You're able to play with pace, makes it easier. Sullen, his pass to the slot, fanned on there by Sorrell. Sperber able to chip this out. Sorrell, this time backhands this behind the back pass to Roan Coe. It's now fired towards the Charleswood bench, and now picked up by Sorrell, trying to dangle through Krekowitz there, but a nice job by number 4 to take that away. Sorrell gets it back, fanned on the pass. That shot from Roan Coe at the point, turned aside by the glove of Gordon, who gets pushed in the face afterwards and retaliates by going after Railer Express player, goes down towards the ice afterwards to potentially give him another shot, but the goaltenders are no stranger to getting whacked throughout the course of a hockey game, right? And many of them take exception to it more times than not, and Gordon that time around no different, as both teams look to regroup here before the next whistle blows to get play resumed here, as Trey Sullen ends up into the box for the Railer Express. Roan Coe also in the box. So yeah, now taking a look at him, I don't believe that's the same guy I went against in my final year of AA hockey. I told that story a few weeks ago here on mmjhl Game Day, because I noticed the name and thought, hey, that looks familiar. Transcona, you know, the Coe I played against played for the Railcats, so yeah, it isn't him from what I see, but yeah, it is. In fact, Roan Coe into the box, as well as Trey Sullen. Charleswood players also going to be going to the box. That's number 4 in Krekowitz. So with 6:43 remaining, that's the referee talking to the timekeeper. As I believe he's signaling 2 to the Railer Express and 1 to the Hawks. Either way, it's going to be 4-on-4 action here. As both are going to be ruled penalties for these players coming up. By the way, thank you to everyone who's been tuning into this one as it's been going along. It's pretty exciting so far here. 6:42 remaining in this period as the Railers win possession of this puck off of the draw. Played along the half wall there to Vandenbush. Got a back up top to Austin Campbell, but Campbell couldn't hold the line. So Vandenbush gets this puck back now. Carries it into his own end, looking to build some speed. He gets that pass and now gets one back up the middle seam. As Austin Campbell controls this, plays it to Larkins, to Mickler, and now quick pass over back to Austin Campbell as the Railers able to break into the zone. Campbell goes to the back door for Vandenbush there, but unable to connect with the captain's backhand. As Larkins plays this across to Mickler. Mickler fending off some stick checks, drives towards the net, tries to at least, as he's bodied down there hard into the boards by Van Norman as the horns sound afterwards. Some applause from his side of the crowd. Vandenbush unloads that shot, turned aside, flashing the leather, number 1 in Gordon. As 59 seconds remain now in this 4-on-4. Sorry about the voice as well, everybody, if it sounds a bit raspy. Seems like I may be either getting sick or losing it a bit. try to do what we can to keep the voice up to tip-top shape. It's the Charleswood Hawks coming in. Sperber trying to find Carlson, but that a bit too much and tight. That's number 9 back into the lineup, of course, tonight for this Charleswood Hawks team after missing quite a bit of action. The last game that Sperber ended up playing in before tonight hasn't been since November 24th, so it's been a few games since then for a Hawks forward that's been really good this year. 26 points in 19 games played so far this year, as this gets passed across to Parker White. His shot deflected high of the net, as it's the Railer Express who pick it up. Trying to catch Charleswood maybe on a bad line change here. That shot wider than that. Gordon ends up sticking Declan White down to the ice, as White has that pass go through his skates. Braden Stevenson plays it towards the middle to Penner. Already has a goal in this game. Tried feeding it to Stevenson again, but couldn't get it there. Disrupted by a Railer Express stick. And now it's Turner coming down the other way. Nice job by Glavina. Get the body in the lane to cut that off. We're back to 5-on-5 now. Still at even strength. Turner drops that through the legs to Sullen, but Sullen has that taken away. So it'll be played up the boards to number 21, McPherson now, who has some room to skate it up. Also has Penner with him. McPherson banks it off the boards, but has his body checked a bit as he was on his way through, so couldn't catch up to that dump-in. This is picked up. Chudley kicks this out to Trey Sullen, as Sullen tries to protect this out wide before feeding the pass back to Chudley. Couldn't, but Sullen gets it back into the slot. Oh, nice stick. A key one there from Stevenson to take away that one-timer chance. That looked promising for this Railer Express team. Sullen turned and fired, but wide of the net he went. As down low, Sullen again, that quick pass disrupted, cut off by a Charleswood Hawks player's stick. As this puck along the far boards now, Sullen trying to get loose but couldn't. As it ends up into the crease of Gordon. As both teams afterwards, oh, now there's some shoving, a few jabs to the head. Not really jabs, but a few taps of the cage there on Evan Chudley, as he ends up just skating away and not throwing anything back to Aku. Just did it, and I believe number 21 in McPherson. I could be wrong on that. But it will be the Hawks back to the power play here. This one will be brought to you by Terrico, serving Manitoba producers for over 80 years in the agricultural industry. Won by the Railer Express and sent back down into the Hawk zone here, as Gordon out of his own net to play it. Skates with it a bit before passing it off to Carlson, who's passed into the skates there of Elliot Lewis. Parker White drops it back for Carlson, who actually Carlson gets it now. It was Lewis who connected with Carlson on that pass. Now Carlson spins away from the pressure up to Stevenson. Back to Carlson. Down low. Couldn't get there to Sperber, as that was a nice stick in the lane from Larkins. It's Austin Campbell battling along with Sperber, as Sperber has his stick caught up in the body of Campbell, as number 8 going to draw what is the first power play of the game coming up here soon for this Railer Express squad. It's Sperber who gets his stick caught in between the body of Austin Campbell. Yep, the first true power play that the Railers are going to have coming up. It's actually funny. Keegan Gordon ends up getting a rough-in penalty in that sequence we saw recently afterwards, where he's not a fan of being touched after the whistle. But as for Transcona, they won't have much time to work on a power play after this 4-on-4 is complete. They will have some time at that. Controlling in the zone right now helps, as that shot turned aside off of the left pad of Keegan Gordon. Turned over into the possession of Stevenson, who's able to thread a pass up to Vig Fuss and try cutting in through Declan White, but Whiteman, that is, was not having any of it. Shut it down well. Vandenbush now cutting to the middle. Oh, now dragging to the backhand, but Vandenbush at the last moment had that sticked away. Good defensive stick by number 28, or 23, sorry, and Van Alstyne, whose pass ends up creating an offside. So it ended up to Elliot Lewis. So we'll get another face-off draw coming, this time outside of the Railer zone. This draw will be won by the Railers, closest to their bench. This played to Larkins. Larkins fending off the stick checking of Lewis, but couldn't get past Krekowitz as Krekowitz laid a bit of the boom there on number 5 in Larkins. Both some new additions in the lineup for both of these teams, as we're going to get to a Transcona power play here. Charles Wood penalty kill for the next 37 seconds, as Lewis able to backhand this all the way down, as this paddled up by number 1 Maroney. Maroney now left it for Austin Campbell, who gets that across to Todoruk, who Todoruk takes a bit of a check there. Wasn't the most physical, but a hard one at that from a Charles Wood Hawk. Gets Todoruk back on it now, drops this to Sullen, ends up going to the slot for Turner, who shot denied off of a good stick in the middle there from Krekowitz and Lewis, as we're now back to even strength into the final minute of this second period. Krekowitz will go for his skate now, trying to cut through the middle, lost it, but it's back to Sperber, whose shot ends up not being able to get through. Sent in deep now by Van Norman, goes off for a change along with deep partner in Krekowitz, as it gets Waddell and Declan Whiteman out there. As Transcona looking for some space late here in this period, trying to get it to the slot, but can't connect with that pass again. So they just send this in deep. 20 seconds remaining now in this period of action, D to D. The Hawks go trying to stretch this up into the neutral zone. They get this puck back, but unable to be cradled in there by Morrison. Continues to pressure on Kyle Todoruk, however, with 7 seconds left. Hawks looking for one more chance, potentially, but could not hold it in, as that'll do it for the second period of action here on this Friday night in good old Charles Wood and Winnipeg, Manitoba at the old Eric Coy Arena. It's Charles Wood who adds another one to their totals here in the second period, courtesy of Matt Carlson, with some miscommunication from 2 Railers players who end up colliding with each other. Turnover was forced, and the Hawks able to maintain possession of that puck on the outside, working it quick all the way back up to the point where it got to Krekowitz. Ends up having Matt Carlson in front to screen, and Carlson not only pulls off a very nice screen, but also a nice redirection on that play to beat Logan Maroney. Shots during that period, we did not catch them from the PA announcer. We'll have them near the start of the third period. But yeah, in this one, it's getting chippy. I mean, what else did you expect here on MMJHL Game Day? It's become a tradition to see teams roughing it after whistles. It's a very back and forth game here tonight. Both teams with really good chances. Been impressed to see how good Charles Wood has been in terms of taking away their house in the defensive zone. That was a key point for Transcona as well. And for the most part, they've done an okay job there, but definitely not the best performance we've seen from Transcona throughout these games, throughout this winning streak they built up. But hey, it also shows you that it's tough, right, to be absolutely 100% on your game night in and night out. Transcona, though, still in this one, only down 2-0. They got game breakers on this team. It's just about, can you get a bit more fluidity in their game? Because a few times through the neutral zone, they've had some passes behind or just unable to connect with passes. Maybe if you get your transition game going a bit more, you start to get some more success in the offensive zone. We'll have to see what happens, though, in the next 20 miles, ladies and gentlemen. In this MMJHL Game Day broadcast, brought to you by Kent Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Terrico, Goaltenders, and Mid-Canton Fasteners and Tools. Thanks for tuning into this one so far. We hope you stick around for the third period, as it's the home side Hawks up by 2-0 with 20 minutes of regulation left to play. And welcome into MMJHL Game Day here on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. Face-off coming to the blocker-hand side of Gordon is on to take the draw. Lane Richardson ends up winning it, but this will be taken away by Matt Carlson. Has Vic Fussin headed in the net. Carlson just unload, scores! It's Parker White, that is, out there with Van Alstyne as his D partner. This gets up to Maslow, now connected just near the Charleswood blue line. Oh, what a pass through, but an even better save there from Gordon inside of the Charleswood zone. This puck left for Glavine and now fends off one River East player. Tries to get by another one there, but a nice stick from Allen. But here, miscommunication or mishandled by the Royal Knights, and they pay for it as it's the Charleswood Hawks who strike twice here tonight so far in this first period. Second goal of the night. Karen now gets it to McKay with 23 seconds remaining on this power play. Stretched up. Oh, taken out was Lane Richardson. Nice job by Van Norman. 2-0 for the home side on the Charleswood Hawks as Glavina, almost loses it in the boards. Oh, loses it up front in the slot, but Charleswood able to block that up, and now down the other way, a 2-on-1 over to Penner. Hit shot, scores! Karen unable to finish. Now at the point, Reynolds unloads, this time low and wide of the net. Into the low slot. Loose puck there. Gordon sprawls out to somehow make that save with the right pad. This will be Parker White. He gets this to Stevenson. Plays it across to Vic Fussin, dangling to the net. Sorry, that was Lewis who gets stoned there by number 30 in Manuk Jr. This will be transitioned out by River East. Oh, big hit along the boards there, Van Norman. As Gordon, top of his own crease, stuck his stick out to leave that for a teammate in Parker White, who, with patience, dropped it back to Lewis. Lewis gains the zone now, cutting towards the middle, drops it back to Parker White. Oh, bar down and in for their fourth of the night. Charleswood connecting on the power play with 5:26 left in this period. And 11 seconds left on that power play. MMJHL Game Day, of course. I'm your play-by-play commentator for tonight's matchup, Graham, the G-Show Forsyth. All for naught for now, as this chipped in off of the stick, number 25, and Nathan Lanowski out in front. Almost trouble for the Victorias, but able to survive. But that turned aside by the paddle of goaltender, I believe, Benera tonight for this Raiders team. That pass down low. Aiden Anderson now going to the slot, scores! We'll get a face-off draw coming up here to the blocker inside of Benair. Into the low slot, unloaded on there by number 12 in Luke Elliott, but a nice save by number 30. Long shot from ways out. Going back to a teammate, not quite sure who it was. Halati gets this back. Now shooting his shot wide of the net, though. But picked up by other point man, number 21 in Jorganellas. Oh, somehow sneaking this in. The Victoria is late in this period. Go up 2-0 on the Raiders Junior Hockey Club. First grip and sent all the way out. Sent into the direction of Rubini and tracks it down. Rubini to the front of the net. That turned aside. Oh, and there it sneaks in once again. And this Vic's team, the puck luck falling in their favor tonight as they make it 3-0. Tries feeding it to the middle there for Baron Baker, but couldn't find him. Skating this up. This Raiders Junior Hockey Club team, and rebound, scores! Goes across to Evan Philippe, who just passed the red line, sends this in deep. Line for Curtis. Oh, huge hit from number 15 there on number 2 from this Raiders team. As up with speed, Baron Baker trying to split through the Raiders. He gets to the front of the net. Oh, just goes over as have to cut the highlight short there, everybody. That was from our Thursday night game last week in St. Vital Centennial Arena, where the Vics ended up winning that game 7-4. In this matchup tonight, though, a week later, just over a week later, as I should say, it's the Charleswood Hawks at home here at their home, Iroquois Arena, taking on the Transcona Railer Express. Transcona riding a 10-game winning streak heading into this matchup, but that's in jeopardy right now of ending at 10. As they look to extend to 11, but down 2-0 right now, heading into the final 20 minutes of regulation. There was only one goal scored last period, in that courtesy of Matt Carlson, tipping home the shot from Eric Krekowitz, as Krekowitz earning his first point tonight as a Charleswood Hawks player on this team. Hawks ended up having the bulk of the shots in that period, 14-8 in favor of them over the Railer Express, leading the total shots in this game 23-18. Keegan Gordon right now has been pretty rock solid on all 18 saves that he's made, on all 18 shots that he's faced. Logan Maroney has made some big saves as well. Good positioning from the Rook in this one, as he also has his undefeated record on the line too in tonight's game, as he's 10-0 heading in to this matchup tonight, which not too bad to start off your rookie season with a 10-0 record here in this league. But as for the rest of the action in the league, right now we'll take you around the mmjhl in terms of who's been doing the scoring tonight for these teams. For Gary, Rylan Hugan and Dean Gorchinski have the goals, and they're 2-1 lead right now over the Raiders Junior Hockey Club. The Raiders looking to snap an 8-game losing streak tonight, hoping it doesn't go to 9 for their sakes. As for the St. James Junior Canucks, Arneson and Height with 2 goals each. Thorstensen and Clements with the other goals for them. As for River East, Anthony Jacob, their captain, with the lone goal, as they trail 6-1 to the St. James Junior Canucks after 2 periods there. Stonewall and Pembina Valley is now underway as well, as Cole Emberley and Garchansky with the goals in that game, as it's 11:45 remaining in the second period of action there, with the Jets up 2-0 over the Pembina Valley Twisters. We'll give you another look at the standings for heading into tonight's action. These are how they looked. The Reals, of course, a point back of the Charleswood Hawks in the standings. Charleswood, if they're able to come away with a clean 2 points tonight, they'd move 3 points ahead of the Reals again. Heading into a weekend coming up, or a game coming up this weekend on Sunday between these two teams, as that one will be played at Southdale Arena between Charleswood and St. Boniface at 3 p.m. As for the points leaders heading into this weekend's action, still remain the same mostly for the point leaders. Connor Davis, captain for the Riels, has made it onto this list here. Maroney and Gordon both playing in this matchup with two of the best records in the league for both of them, respectively. Gordon looking for win 15 tonight, as Maroney looks to push his perfect record to 11-0. As for the goals and assist leaders, a few Railer Express players on this list in the goal category. Vandenbush also has 22 assists heading into tonight. He'll be looking to be big time in this period coming up. As yes, both teams are back onto the ice now, as we're getting set for period number 3 here in what should be a fantastic final 20 miles of play here tonight at the good old barn Eric Coy in Charleswood in Winnipeg in Manitoba. Lewis taking on St. Laurent in the face-off draw, and that one won by number 21 for the Railers and St. Laurent, as we're off here in this third period of action. As the Hawks, with a 2-0 lead controlled by Krekowitz, plays it off the boards to Carlson, as Carlson delays before shooting that shot that ended up not getting through. It ended up onto the stick of Elliot Lewis, however, who sent that down low, kept it down low, as this gets chipped out now by this Railer Express team. Given chase was number 14 for the Railer Express on Krekowitz. Krekowitz got to it first, as now his team continues to control this. Played into the neutral zone, and now ahead to Lewis, who gets behind the Railers D, but oh, wide of the net. That shot is fired, as now it's the Railers who play this to the middle, missing Larkins with that pass. Allows for Charleswood to set up now, trying to take advantage of a Railer Express change, but couldn't, as that stretch pass a bit too hard. The angle not right off the boards to connect there with number 6 in Cole Penner, as it all the way down for an icing in this third period of action on MMJHL Game Day. Brought to you by McKenna Fasteners and Tools. Visit their store locations in Brandon and Winnipeg today. They're your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. Vandenbush over to Roan Coe, as Coe gets that in deep. Caden Seawalk wearing number 14 for this Railer Express team tonight, by the way, as we got a stop and play now. Another icing coming up with the face-off draw coming up inside of the Railer Express end, or the Charleswood end, sorry. Draw for the Railer Express. Is this able to get out for Charleswood? And this sent out of play quickly by Transcona, as this ends up out of play. Long shot ends up high of the end glass. Take McKenna Fasteners and Tools off the screen. There's Stevenson, who's been really effective on both ends here tonight for the Charleswood Hawks. Ended up losing that draw. This gets sent across to Chudley, who lightly touches this up to Coe, who goes to Whiteman. His shot turned aside just by the blocker there of Keegan Gordon, as the Hawks able to work this one up again. It's McPherson loses the handle on this. This puck bounces over his stick. He still continues down low, however, almost got possession back of that puck. Van Alstyne now from the puck. His shot scores! Through traffic again, Maroney had some trouble seeing it, and Van Alstyne's shot floated into that right corner. Top glove hand side to beat Logan Maroney for the third of the night here for this Charleswood Hawks team, and we've talked about it all night. Getting traffic in front, taking away the eyes of Maroney, gonna be huge for not only shots like that, but creating traffic in front for rebounds. Well, that time around, no rebound needed, as that shot good enough to find that top left corner from Maroney's perspective, top right corner from our perspective here from our broadcast booth. As that goal brought to you by McKenna Fasteners and Tools. your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. Sure to visit their website as well at mccanonfasteners.shop, and their store locations in Brandon and Winnipeg. Big block there from the Charleswood Hawks is sent in again by this Railers team. Now turned up the other way by the Hawks, who tried to work that to the side of the net where Vic Fussin was there. Now Dudic out in front, his quick one-timer up high over the net. Glavina up aggressive from his D spot to take away that pass, and now there's some rough stuff happening afterwards. We're gonna get the gloves drop here, potentially Dudic being brought to the ground by, or the ices I should say, by Shadanoff. Now a bunch of other players from both teams going at it with their respective matchups out there, as you can see. Glavina being held back, as well as Cal Todoric being held back from each other. They're closest to our broadcast angle. I told you folks, it never fails. It never fails here. If you're looking for fights in the hockey world, come here and watch mmjhl Game Day, because even though they haven't been full-out brawls here tonight, like in some of the games we've seen this season, I mean, like, if you love how chippy this sport gets, this is the league for you. Emotions running high in this one. It'll be the Transcona Railer Express who go onto the power play for just the second time tonight, brought to you by Make-Cannon Fasteners and Tools. As that shot turned aside by Gordon. He's got over, I believe, 20 shots against now in this game. Only 18 for Transcona throughout the first 2 periods of this one, as they look to get some mojo going on this power play here tonight. A unit which ranks #1 in the league so far this year. Sorrell to Larkins. His shot turned down by Gordon, flashing the leather and gloving down. Yet another save here tonight. Getting a stoppage. With 16:55 remaining, 1:35 left on this Railer Express power play. A power play this season heading into tonight. So we got a reset off of a face-off draw. Vandenbush getting kicked out in favor of Evan Chudley, as Chudley unable to win this face-off draw. Nice win by Carlson, as controlled by Waddell before sending this down deep. But it's blocked up by Larkins, who makes some moves through the neutral zone, now establishes the offensive zone. Tried sending this down low for Michael Todoric, but unable to find number 18. But the Railers able to hold the line here as Vandenbush gets this to Jackson Sorrell. Backhand pass fed up to Larkins, to Vandenbush, back to Larkins, to Vandenbush up top. Vandenbush, his shot blocked there by Lewis. Huge by number 19. Vandenbush with it back. Another huge block by the stick this time of number 19 and Lewis, as this gets sent down, and him and Waddell both going off for a change. All players changing for this Charleswood team. And those are the types of plays you need against a power play that is 25.9% heading into tonight. Nice job by Sullen to bat that puck down in the corner, worked it up to the point to Austin Campbell, works this across to Larkins, back to Campbell. Now he unloads, but another huge block from Charleswood on this PK. It's up to Larkins again with 21 seconds remaining. Austin Campbell fakes the shot, goes over to Sullen, who's turned aside by number 1. The glove outstretching there for Keegan Gordon. As Transcona getting a taste of their own medicine right now. A team that's been so good at getting the shot lanes on the penalty kill when they've been killing off penalties so far this year. Charleswood taking a page out of their own book. And a huge shift there in terms of the box from not only Elliot Lewis but Sam Monin also getting in on the action. This now turned over and sent out by this Hawks squad. This now back to even strength in this hockey game. As puck into the Railer Express zone. Some good puck movement there, but unable to get much through to the net, and when they did, Gordon was comfortable and up to the task to make the saves. As this Played behind the back pass. Number 4 in Krekowitz, who plays it to McPherson. Playing across to number 18 and Parker White, who a nice job by White there to cradle that pass. That was almost hopping over his stick. Now Turner dodges what could have been a brutal collision there from Krekowitz, as Krekowitz was lining him up. Declan Whiteman now spinning away from the check-in of McPherson. Tries to one-touch deke, but loses his puck. Van Don, and it's to Penner's stick. Penner, backdoor! Somehow! Some way staying out. Was that off the post or the pad of Logan Maroney? I'm not quite sure, but the Hawks so close to pretty much putting this one out of reach. Even though it's a tall task for this Transcona team to come back right now, could this be the potential break that they need off of that chance that went out the wayside for this Hawks team? We'll have to see here in these next 14 minutes of action. It's now 13:57 remains on the clock. That stretch pass can't get up. Johansson tried threading it. Still out there. Declan Whiteman now along the boards, trying to pin up number 15 and Eros Bazin, a workhorse down low. Got a puck loose to Penner, who got into the slot, but Monin unable to cradle it cleanly. That shot now from below the goal line gets turned aside by Maroney. The Railer Express afterwards pushing off that net to make sure they get a blown whistle there, which they did. And a teammate slow to get up for them, and Jacob Howell from behind his own net. It's back out now. Back up to his feet, going to the bench. So we get offensive zone face-off draw here for the Hawks, won by the Railer Express as that hops over the stick of Glavino onto Michael Todoruk's stick. Now as he cuts the middle, Todoruk tries to get that to the net, but nice job by Waddell on the back check to take it away. Played up to the point. Ronco, his shot wide of the net, off of the backboards into the feet of Waddell, picked up by this Railer Express squad. Gets it up to the point to Coe. Hesitates before shooting that shot into the pads of Gordon as he turns aside. Yet another Railer Express chance here tonight. Hawks turn it over high up inside of the Railer zone now as the Railers look to send this in deep. Gordon out of his own net, batting this down. Impressive hand-eye there from number 1. As Van Norman passes up to Bazin, who's passed behind Travers off the boards. Maybe thought it had a chance, but didn't end up being the case. Now the Hawks able to strip this one away. Travers drops this back to number 4 in Krekowitz. Kicks this out to Van Norman, who's shot way high of the net as it goes into the net in here to get a stop and play with 12:27 remaining. Face-off draw to the blocker hand side of Maroney, won by Carlson for the Hawks, but this will be sticked away and chased down by Johansson, who has Seawalk heading to the next. Seawalk, though, covered well there by Van Norman, who gives Seawalk a shot afterwards. St. Laurent picks up this puck, has that turned aside by Gordon. So now it'll be the Hawks who work this puck up. Carlson tries to feed this through the middle seam to Elliot Lewis, but he was taken away with some good position from the Railer Express defense. And with that, we're back inside of the Railer Express end for another face-off draw here coming up. Won by the Hawks again. Carlson won it, but Van Alstyne was unable to hold that D-to-D pass in that he received. Mickler now skates it up. Mickler drags to the backhand, keeps this protected outside. Backhand pass into the slot, taken away by that stick of Gordon. This tip's now wide of the net. Almost made it through that traffic jam that was out in front. As Gordon now covers things up. With 11:39. And Vandenbush out to take the draw against Morrison. Vandenbush tied up, but Railers end up winning this to the point. Campbell shot into the red basket of Gordon. Again, for the Railers with some of their best players out with Vandenbush and Chudley. McClure got this to the point to Larkins. Oh, off the boards. That almost working out. That harder pass rather than a shot out in front. That one too much and tight for number 27 for McClure to handle. This puck, though, stays in the Charleswood zone. We're unable to clear it. Chudley ends up going to the point. Larkins blast off of a skate and wide of the net. That now Fandon getting towards the net. Might work out for this Railers team as they got it backdoor. Vandenbush couldn't do much with it, though, as it was just out of his reach. Now into the neutral zone it goes and sent into the Railers end. Larkins, though, nice stretch pass, good awareness, heads up to Chudley. His shot turned aside by Gordon, but a penalty coming up here in favor of this Transcona team, as it will be the Hawks going to the box for another time this period, which will send Transcona back onto the man advantage. 0 for 2 so far here tonight. It's Nathan Glavina who ends up being the culprit. This will be Vandenbush to take the draw. Bested, though, by Carlson as Carlson gets this loose puck back and sends it all the way out hard off of the glass. That was picked up by the Railer Express. Just over halfway remaining here in this game. A minute of 43 seconds to work on the power play right now. Sorrell tries toe dragging in. Lost that puck. Loose puck tried to be picked up by Vandenbush, who battles along boards there with Waddell. Waddell can't get that up the boards hard enough. So it's taken away by the Railer Express. Evan Chudley coming opposite side. Drops this behind the back to Sorrell. As Sorrell, his shot unable to get through that huge block of Waddell. And this Hawks team continuing to get good bodies on into the shooting lanes during this game as Jackson Sorrell sends this across to Declan Whiteman, who will kick it out left to Michael Todorick. Back to Declan Whiteman now, who shot wide of the net again for this Railer Express team. Is at the point again, his blast unable to get through a block going off of the backside of number 8 in Waddell that time around. It might have been Van Norman. It's played up to Krekowitz. Krekowitz, tries to dangle through, draws a penalty in the sequence, and gets two-handed afterwards. That player who did that, Michael Todorick, two-handing Dudic twice in the corner now. Now we're starting to see some frustration a bit coming out here for this Railer Express squad. So it won't be Todorick who goes to the box, but rather number 16 and Whiteman, who is the culprit on that penalty, which ends up being 4 minutes. They're deeming this a knee. And refs take that seriously, right? That call specifically. A knee on knee is one of the worst things that I think you can see. That's not overly dirty here in this sport, but it still is by all means very dirty, especially if there's some intent. Don't think there was there. Sperber with some intent to the net with that toe drag, though. Ends up making some magic happen a bit there. Let's see if Charleswood can continue to work some magic here late into this game, now into the final half of it. Stevenson down low, pressured by Sullen, but able to work this puck up to the point to Parker. White, that is. Got it across to Van Alstyne as he stick handles, surveying options like nothing, so gets it to White again, to Stevenson. Now 3 minutes and 19 seconds of Hawks power play time coming up here, depending on if they can score here in the first half of this double minor. Then it goes down to 2 minutes, exactly. Once that happens, Van Alstyne over to Parker White. His shot unable to get through as it's blocked up. They feed it up to an open Van Alstyne again, though. Lewis circling up top, gets it back to Van Alstyne, now to Parker White, down low to Stevenson, looking back door, but couldn't get it there. Number 9, I believe, Sperber out there, lost it in his feet. This Transcona team able to get it out as they look to create something short-handed. Sullen has Nathan Turner with him. Sullen decides to shoot this one instead, but is turned aside by number 1. And Gordon, penalty coming up here to the Charleswood Hawks. Looks like a boarding penalty. It's that double minor that they had in their favor comes to an end. 32 seconds of power play time when it's all said and done, it seems like. They got 32 minutes of power play time left. There's going to be 4-on-4 hockey played here for the next 2 minutes of action with 7:54 remaining as we keep Make-Hand Fasteners and Tools on the screen. This face-off draw will be to the blocker hand side of Gordon. Won by this Railer Express team as Campbell steps up, blocked again though by a Hawks player in Morrison this time. As this puck able to be sent out by this Hawk squad. And carried in again by the Railer Express. As Johansson gets behind the D, tried to feed a pass up to Larkins, but couldn't. The Hawks get this into open space. It's up to Morrison, who skated into it. Morrison now backhanded to the net. Rebound created there, but Vig Fussin was already too high up in the zone before he let that one go. So was unable to do much with it. As this now picked up by this Railer Express squad. Now kicked out up to Johansson. As Johansson from the side in the corner ends up sending one on net, turned aside by Gordon. So it'll be Matt Carlson in to take the draw. This time around against Michael Todoric, won by Carlson. As it's picked up by Glavina. Glavina passes up the right wall to Lewis, who gains the zone. Drags in, shot, unable to get through. Nice block there by the Railer Express off of the rush chance. Now this played off of the glass, but opposite direction and not where it was intended to go to, which was towards number 18. Went opposite side instead and down for an icing, since, of course, just to remind you all, we are at 4-on-4. I think the next thing we're going to add to improve our broadcast is going to be special teams icons, like 5-on-4s, 5-on-3s, 4-on-3s, 4-on-4s like we're seeing right now. Even though they are at even strength, of course, right now, this isn't your normal 5-on-5. So that's probably the next thing we'll be doing. Extra attacker would be a good one to add in as well with the empty net for teams in game. But it's the Railer Express who continue to look to fight back in this one, but haven't been able to have much luck on the scoreboard tonight. They've been outshot in this one. Also outscored 3-0. Penner adds to it, his fourth! Or no, his second of the game, the fourth of the night for this Charleswood Hawks team in total. So he's able to break loose. Coming down on that right side, makes no mistake to beat Maroney through that low glove side off of the rush. One that Maroney didn't judge the best, as that one fooling him a bit. And that goal, of course, as mentioned, the fourth of the night for the Charleswood Hawks, second of the night for Cole Penner. As he opened up the scoring, could very well be the one who scores the last goal of the game in this one. As that goal brought to you by Make-Hand Fasteners and Tools, your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. Visit their store locations in Winnipeg and Brandon today, as well as checking out their website at makehandfasteners.shop. Stevenson strong to win the draw again. So this controlled by Van Norman. Coming up, we will have our post-game show brought to you by Make-Hand Fasteners and Tools and Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, where we'll be breaking down this one in brief, as well as giving away our Player of the Game awards, which one goes to the Railer Express, one goes to the Hawks. For the first time in a while, barring some sort of miracle, Transcona will end the game in the losing column, which will snap a 10-game win streak tonight as we get some fights that continue to transpire here. Van Norman has his helmet off. The captain for this Hawks team is now down on the ice, throwing some punches and trying to take a huge swing at his opposition, number 28 and Stevenson. So that was against Austin Campbell. Yeah, that's right. McPherson heading to the box. Same with Seawalk for the Railer Express. Same with McClure. And Krekowitz, you couldn't see him on the screen there, just kindly giving back his teammate his helmet there in McPherson. But yeah, been impressed from Mr. Krekowitz' game tonight. Been impressed from a lot of players on this Hawks team's performances here this evening. In my opinion, this has been the best I've seen this Hawks team play all season long. They're really keen in on their details in the defensive zone. We've seen them sacrificing a ton of the bodies tonight and going up against the #1 unit in the league, right, on the power play when they're on the penalty kill. In Transcona, we've seen even more urgency in the defensive zone to get into shooting lanes to block shots. Gordon has been solid, has made some huge saves throughout this game, and the offensive pieces are doing the work. It's going to take a performance like this to, even be close in this one against Transcona. Well, Charleswood has done better than just competing with them. They lead this one and control it 4-0 here late as they're back onto the power play as well, as the refs end up calling this in the favor of Charleswood as they set up here. Another penalty coming up here on the play, though, as I believe this may be coming to the Hawks. No, it won't. Another one coming up to the Transcona Railer Expresses. We'll get a 5-on-3 for Charleswood coming up next with 4:35 remaining, as they'll just look to give this one away so they can get as much time as possible on a 5-on-3 coming up here. And now for the Railer Express going to the box for yet another time here. So we take a look at the amount of penalties that they've taken in this period. 2 so far, 1 recently as well, so that makes 3. Taking some in that second period too, and allowing for this Hawks team to spend even more time in their zone, especially right now. It's a 5-on-3 chance for them. It's worked down low and now passed across. Lewis banging away at that, but was tied up well enough. And Logan Maroney strong enough to make that save in front. As face off again, this time towards the boards and battle along there with Rowe and Co. This chipped out by Jacob Howell as Van Den Busch trying to get past Carlson after he loses an edge. Van Den Busch tuck scores! Shutout broken for this Transcona team with 3:48 left. Some short-handed magic from the captain of Transcona, Nolan Van Den Busch, who, a sweet finish for sure, but unfortunate break for Matt Carlson as he ends up losing an edge as Jacob Howell chips this out, sending Van Den Busch in with some speed through the neutral zone. And once Van Den Busch sees his opportunity, cuts a bit more into the middle to get in behind all the Charleswood defense. Carlson gets back up to try to make right on it, but couldn't quite catch him as a sweet backhand, forehand tuck in the 5-hole there for Van Den Busch. As that goal, shorthanded, brought to you by Mick Fasteners and Tools. One-stop shop for all your industrial needs. Unfortunately for Gordon, seeing his shutout broken here tonight. Glad to see that we did not put the announcer's curse on him. So now we get to 5-on-4. Sperber in the corner, tied up along the wall there with a Transcona Railer Express player. Van Alstyne, slick along the line, played a backhand pass to Traverse after dragging it. Traverse got it to Penner, who drops this to Glavina. Glavina up from his D spot, now working up top again to Van Alstyne. Van Alstyne locates number 9 there in Sperber. As Sperber tries going cross ice there, but can't connect. That's number 21 in St. Laurent. We got into the lane well to take that away. 7 seconds remain on this Hawks power play, down to 4 as we are back to even strength with 2:27 remaining. Maybe too little too late here for this Railer Express squad to get back into this one on the scoreboard as they're down 4-1 with 2:17 remaining. Nolan Vandenbush with a beauty, short-handed off of a chance that was created short-handed in their own zone. Got his team within 3. There will be another penalty coming up here. And that goes, I believe, to Nathan Turner. 2 minutes for interference. St. Laurent down in the Hawk zone. Ends up into the Hawks creases. Now he just slashed Gordon, getting a stick on him. We'll have to see if this results in anything for St. Laurent as he makes his way back to the bench. Interesting for sure. So I could have sworn he made contact with Gordon, and by how many penalties have been called in this game, wouldn't have shocked me if they took him as well. But it's a Hawks power play again, brought to you by Mid-Canton Fasteners and Tools. Sure to check out their website as well as their store locations. Your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. Glavina stepping up, walking in down Broadway there, but had that shot blocked. St. Laurent sticks that puck away now. It ends up all the way into the Charleswood zone. Be picked up by the Railer Express, who play it up to Glavina, looking to gain access of the zone, which they do just that, rimming it around. This now played up to Van Alstyne. His shot threw off the post as that deflected off of something in front. Maroney tapping that post as well to thank it. It's tradition for goaltenders, it seems, doing that. Up to 1:18 remaining. Glavina, his shot blocked by a St. Laurent stick. There as the pushing and shoving continues, and oh boy, here we go. There's some fights breaking out. As, St. Laurent giving it to a Hawk player who ends up down on the ice first there in the corner. So much happening at once right now. As that was Vig Fussin, who's being held back by one of the head refs now. There's a Hawk and a Railer Express player that's down to the ice too. And honestly, just run time in this game at this point, honestly, maybe. Like, yeah, there's a possibility maybe that you could come back down by 3 goals, but chances of that are very slim. And we've just continued to see this whistle after whistle as this one has been coming towards its conclusion. So I'm not sure if we caught that on camera, actually. Vig Fussin on his way back to the bench, waving to the Railer Express players that are in their side of the penalty box. Well, for Transcona, as we pull up the standings, 18-1-3 coming in. They'll fall to 18-2-3. They'll still have 4 points up on the Hawks in terms of a point advantage in the standings. For Charleswood, not only a huge win for them in terms of they'll be snapping Transcona's 10-game win streak and getting their first win of the season against this Transcona Railer Express squad, and of course the third meeting tonight, but they'll maintain a 3-point advantage over the St. Boniface Riels, who are currently on the Hawks' tails, right behind them in chase for that second place spot right now, is St. Boniface, with a dominant performance last night in St. Vital in that second period, especially scoring 5 and really 6 unanswered as they were down 1-0 in that game. Tied it up in the first period. But we'll have a face-off draw coming up inside of the Railer Express zone. 4-minute double minor for Penner for this Hawks team. So we'll see what that double minor was for. Not too sure as of yet, but doesn't really matter at the end of this one, as with under a minute left in play as we bring McKenna Fasteners and Tools back onto the screen. It's the Railer Express who will benefit from an icing call here on the Charleswood Hawks as we're on 4-on-4. But yes, for Transcona, had their chances tonight. Keegan Gordon made a huge save in that first period, which who knows if they're able to score on that one-timer chance off the stick of Jackson Sorrell, maybe things are a bit different as we head into, you know, the latter parts of this game, but that didn't end up being the case. And for Charleswood, they continue to get better and better in their own end as this game went along. Really impressed with what they were able to do on the penalty kill as well tonight against the league's best power plays. We got another penalty coming up, and now 2 men collide as it's Larkins and Van Norman, both number 5s, tussling here late in this one with 15.8 left on the clock. One that's pretty much over at this point. Larkins ends up going off of the ice. Van Norman will also be going off, as Van Norman, you couldn't see it there, but getting taps on the head from Riley Dudich, who, of course, out of this game as well. He's enjoying this one close to the penalty box where Penner's chilling right now for this Hawks team. But yeah, this Hawks team, a complete effort from start to finish tonight. Came out fast, scored within the first 5 minutes of this one for Transcona. Instead of playing with the lead, chasing this game here tonight and couldn't really recover. So they were down 4-0. Vandenbush made it 4-1 off of a short-handed deep goal, tucking a 5-hole on Gordon to break his shutout. But nonetheless, for Gordon, he gets what matters the most, which is a huge win for Charleswood. Maybe their biggest of the season against the Transcona Railer Express, as Gordon picks up number 15 in the win column tonight. Charleswood, up to now, a 4-game win streak, ending an impressive win streak for this Transcona Railer Express team, who are riding into this one with 10 wins in a row. But strong performances and some chirping afterwards that still continues to go on from this Hawks team. You gotta think that this next matchup between the two squads, which won't be coming until January 19th back at East End, you gotta think that one's gonna be filled with emotions as well. But as we put the F onto the scoreboard to mark the final in this one, 4-1 for the Hawks. And a complete effort from not only their forward groups, effort in the offensive zone, not only their defensive core's effort and their all-around team effort in the defensive zone, but also not only on even strength, but on special teams as well. What else could you ask for from, you know, this coaching staff and Dylan Smith and the rest of the Hawks faithful here tonight against a Transcona Railer Express team who, you know, like I said, we're chasing the game rather than playing with a lead. I thought that the Hawks did a really good job of taking away space in the neutral zone from Transcona. And yeah, Transcona wasn't as fluid on their breakouts. Had more trouble breaking into the inside on the Hawks defense. That's a credit to the Hawks for playing sound defensively here tonight. And yeah, it's just one of those games where, like, you don't want to make any changes going in, but how long does a winning streak really last for in this league? Well, it lasted pretty long for this Railer Express team, who won 10 in a row in many different ways, whether it was blowouts or in close games. They couldn't complete the comeback tonight to keep it going, though, as Charleswood skates off with the win here to move them up to 17-5-1 in the standings. They'll move up to 35 points. They'll be 3 points up on the Riels heading in to their Sunday matchup against them. So all the Riels can do in that one, potentially if they're able to get 2 clean points, is move back within a point of Charleswood. But we are going to get into the players of the game now, starting off with the Transcona Railer Express. Who do we give it to the Railers tonight in their losing effort? We'll see if the chat has suggested anyone. No one suggested there. Yeah, in terms of, the players that stood out for them in this game, Nolan Vandenbush stood out with their lone goal shorthanded. Thought Nolan did some, of course, good things with the puck tonight, but wasn't at the top of his game, much like the rest of his teammates tonight. At times it looked maybe a bit frustrating for Nolan out there, as he had people constantly on him, sticking away pucks off of his stick, out of his possession. But he was able to break free and scored a nice shorthanded goal to get Transcona on the board at the very least tonight. And when he was in the offensive zone, was creating some good chances, some good passes. Just Transcona unable to connect on them here tonight for the most part. And also, once again, a credit to Charleswood in taking away those areas where Transcona was trying to connect on. That Player of the Game award brought to you by McKen Fasteners and Tools, your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. Be sure to check out their store locations in Brandon and Winnipeg today. As for the Charleswood Hawks, who the Player of the Game goes to here tonight, I thought Eric Krekowitz stood out big time on the back end tonight. What an ad for this Charleswood team that ends up bolstering an already pretty solid decor. But it goes to Cole Penner, and even before Cole scored that goal, you could see just the craftiness with the stick, and I've talked about it before with him. We saw it on display with one-touch passes, him settling down passes that looked like they may be off the mark or bobbling and hard to receive. Cole was making it look easy tonight, and also made it look easy on that first goal, walking in, receiving a nice little short pass from Glavina, and then once again to really put this one far beyond the reach of Transcona ever coming back to make it 4-0. Came down the left side after pickpocketing a Transcona Railer Express player and firing one past Maroney for his second of the night and 14th of the year. Yeah, Cole was an absolute weapon in the offensive zone tonight and gets rewarded with 2 goals in a really nice performance for number 6 here against the Transcona Railer Express on this Friday night. As that Player of the Game, we'll bring him up now, brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Be sure to check out their store location, their only store location here in Winnipeg, 995 Miltz Drive, as well as checking out their website to take a look at their selection at CanCentralSportsCards.com. Player of the Game for Charleswood tonight goes to number 6 in Cole Penner. For Transcona, McKen Fasteners and Tools Player of the Game going to number 22, their captain, in Nolan Vandenbush. As for the upcoming action this weekend in the mmjhl, there's still a lot to be desired here, as there's some great action in store coming up, as Transcona will be looking to get back in the win column against the Fort Garry Twins at home, while Charleswood looks to extend their win streak out to 5 games coming up against St. Boniface, who rides into Sunday with a 3-game win streak. We'll be live at Terry Sawchuk Arena on Sunday night for River East Royal Knights taking on the Raiders Junior Hockey Club. Before we let you go, everybody, Just want to take you through the scores from around the rest of the MMJHL before we let you go. Fort Garry up big 6-1, 4 goals in the third period against the Raiders to get them to that point. Raiders looking like they're going to be riding into Sunday night's action on a 9-game losing streak. Fort Garry will move to 15-7-1 with the win tonight. St. James dominance over River East. They're finding their game again. Arneson with a hat trick in a 9-2 victory for them, as they'll improve to over 500 for the first time this year at 11-10-2. This game tonight, Charleswood moving to 17-5-1 with a 4-1 victory over the Railer Express. And as for the Jets, 9 minutes remaining in the third, they hold a 3-1 lead over Pembina Valley as Ferguson got them on the board for the first time tonight, as Stonewall had a 3-0 lead heading into the final third period of that one. But yeah, one last time here tonight, everybody. This has been G-Show Productions. Thank you to you, the viewer, for tuning into this one. We'll have action on Sunday night for mmjhl game day once again. Details can be seen on our website at gshow.ca, as well as on our social media pages. Thank you to goaltenders McKenna Fasteners and Tools, Terrico, and Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia for being another sponsor of mmjhl game day here. In this one, that was live from Iroquois Arena, seeing the Charleswood Hawks move 4 points behind Transcona now with a 4-1 win, snapping Transcona's long 10-game winning streak. Take care, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to your home of MMJHL hockey here on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. Hawks take it home, 4-1 win the final here from their home in Iroquois. Good night, everybody.